Hello my friends, let's start this video from the Kaboomed news. They're coming from Russia. As you can see, this is some sort of the refinery, and I may tell you where it happened: in Saratov. Yeah, this is the very famous place for many of the Russian refineries and also the airfield angles. Lots of the videos were shared by the eyewitnesses, and here is also something burning, yeah, you may see on the cloud, reflection. And here is the picture, so definitely you may spot some of the, Russian refinery 100%. So far, it is hard to judge what particular component of this refinery was hit, but as usual, Ukraine aims towards the distillation units. Those are very hard to restore. Well, whatever was hit there, it caused some of the fire. And the blast was recorded on some of the local dash camera. We have this screenshot. And I want to show you everything of that on map. So this is Ukraine capital city of Kiev, and if we go to the river Volga, this is Saratov with angles airfield. And if we go here, you may see the refinery facilities with oil storages. There are many of those near this city. By the way, it seems like Russians knew about this possible attack. That's why they evacuated their strategic aviation from angles well before. But still, they were not capable to defend their refinery because simply they're out of the air defense systems. So far, Russians are out of the real solutions to protect their refineries. Well, they're working to put some of the balloons with the nets or some of the extra meshes, but those kind of the defense systems should be tested, should be produced. It's not one-day solution. Then you have this idea and you right away implement it. No, Russians have to experiment, and maybe next year or the year later they may come out with something working solution. But for now, Ukraine has this window to definitely hit Russia hard. I mean, their refineries using simple drones. For example, those drones were spotted in Orenburg this morning. Those are looted drones. It's been a while since I saw those the last time. Usually Ukraine operates with FP1 drones and FP2. About Orenburg, well, I don't have the precise data about those strike happened, but locals report about kabooms. Russian official media, as usual, says the air defense shut down everything and just some of the debris hit something. Yeah, Ukraine uses nano-smart debris in their drones, which hit absolutely everything. Alright, now from Supernova Plus, we obtained the image, kind of the bad camera operation. Like, girl, what are you filming? Or a woman? Well, there is the smoke coming. I can see it from there, but it's hard to say whether something was hit, but she says it was hit. The light was flashing and there were kabooms. Okay, good news for us. Other locals report about the strikes on oil facilities. And this is again looted drone. Again, very terrible job from the cameraman. Here is the drone. Yeah, definitely we have this photo from Orsk, and this is for sure refinery. It's on fire. Yeah, the fire is really strong out there in Orsk, and this refinery is big as well. Well, Ukraine is very capable, hitting so many refineries for a single night. Great job. Interesting, Russian channels published the news about Ukrainian special operation, which was intended to kidnap Russian MiG-31 with Kinjal hypersonic missile. Allegedly, a navigator of this aircraft type told it to the press that he was contacted by Bellingcat agency. At first, they proposed him the deal to uncover some sort of the secret information relative to the military components, and later on he was proposed actually to hijack the airplane and to land it in Ukraine. If without missile he would obtain $1 million, and with missile itself $3.5 million, plus citizenship in any sort of the European country. That Russian navigator also told that he was proposed to flatline the captain of the ship, so pilot, and take controls and go to Ukraine. Okay, could it be a real thing that Ukraine really tried to get this MiG-31 with Kinjal hypersonic? Well, I think yes. It's roughly 50-50. Could be Russian propaganda, but Ukraine actually done those operations before. I guess it was in 2023 then this operation of Ukraine was successful. Then Russian helicopter pilot took his helicopter to Ukraine and landed in Poltava. Well, in around 1 year he was cancelled by, I guess, Russian special secret services in Spain. Still no one was found who did it, and I guess that the main mistake of that pilot was that he went to give the interview to the press saying how bad Putin's regime really is. Well, the Russian FSB and Putin himself, they don't like those so-called traitors, and they spend the government resource to track and cancel them. They wanted to make it as a case for other pilots not to do the same stuff, and maybe they're quite successful in that. And there is also variant that the situation with MiG-31 is nothing but the Russian propaganda. That's it. Yeah, poor animals have to serve for Russian army. Donkeys again. There are many of those on the front lines, but they're not at the very front. They're used for supplies by Russians, and I see that this donkey is not in a good condition. It's afraid, and yeah, poor animals. Nevertheless, I'm not one of those YouTubers or someone, Russian army is fighting on donkeys, ha ha ha. No, I'm absolutely not making fun of the Russian army. And I saw that people were laughing even about this video was published yesterday. Oh, it's the second army in the world. Oh, Bukhanka when? Oh, they're just laughing stock, not capable. Where are your Armata tanks, Russia? But those commentators, they do not understand one thing. That is how the modern-day war looks like. You don't need Armata tank to occupy some sort of the settlement. Those Russians are going to Pokrovsk, they have weapons, they have drones, they have everything. It doesn't matter what transport they use. If they are capable to use even transport, it means that Ukrainian defense is not so good in the southern area. And Russians use this weather to move quite substantial amount of the forces. Can Ukraine move so many forces to Mirnograd, I don't know, to unblock Ukrainian guys out there? I don't know, I wish Ukrainian army would have those kind of the tools right now to reinforce the defense. No one speaks about those fancy tanks like Armata or Leopard because all of them are burning the same way under the drone strike. So this war is the combination of those very ancient technologies like ancient transport, even donkeys, and state-of-art drone technologies, thermal camera, night vision, plus aviation gliding bombs. So I'm absolutely not laughing seeing those kind of the pictures from Pokrovsk. This is very concerning. Yes, I have some of the images after weather improved. Ukraine, after all, was successful in hitting some of those guys out there. Those images I will show you probably in the next video. This one I will not dedicate to the frontline update, just want to show you like the situation, yeah, on the ground. And then you see those donkeys. You may also understand that donkeys may carry lots of the payload. It makes the advancement of the Russian army and their supplies better. And the Russian army doesn't hesitate to use any sort of the way of the transportation or logistics they have. I guess that's what the Ukrainian army also should do, and Ukrainians also are doing this stuff. Well, not donkeys, but those cars, maybe sometimes even motorcycles too, in some of the brigades of the Ukrainian army. Well, they are presented there. But after all, motorcycles are mostly for attacking missions. Alright, great news for Ukraine. United States Senate passes bill to end government shutdown, sends to the House, and House will probably support it because Republican Party has majority. Donald Trump already promised to sign the bill as soon as he has it on the table. Well, guys, I don't really freaking care about internal American political agenda. As for me, everything out there is mostly a shit show, especially right now, but I care about the military support of Ukraine, so the removing of the government shutdown will unblock the frozen military support for Ukraine, which is currently applied on some of the critically important munition, and Ukraine needs it right away because of the very bad situation on the front lines. So of course the government shutdown should be lifted in this case, and I heard the rhetorics of Democrats that they're against lifting the government shutdown, but Senate voted for it. 60 yeah, 40 nay. It means that it will be lifted, which is absolutely fantastic for Ukraine. What is also fantastic that Germany will increase its military support for Ukraine in 2026. Germany will increase it till 11.5 billion euros. That's the record military support. Thank you, Germany. You are just awesome. Without you for Ukraine, it would be very, very hard, especially right now. Thank you so much. And by the time the countries like Norway and Germany, they're really concerned about the future of Ukraine because it may also touch their own personal security. The countries like, or it's better to say not the countries, but governments of Slovakia, for example, they're against the military support. And Slovakian Prime Minister already said that they will block all of the initiatives to confiscate Russian assets and to send them to Ukraine. Yeah, Russia has activated its puppets in Europe, and then there is the threat for its money. A usual narrative coming from Fico, Orban, from Russian propaganda in general, that if you finance the Ukrainian military, you support the war. If you stop financing Ukraine, the war stops. Yes, it might stop in this case because Russia will have all of the tools to occupy Ukraine entirely, to cause lots of the life losses and possess the threat to another countries, this time NATO countries. So then those politicians call to cease the military support. It means that they want Ukraine to be occupied. I guess it was the last week then Orban said that if you support Ukraine, you support the war, which is unhinged, it's crazy, and I just hope that Hungarians will not elect this douchebag the next year. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk also mentioned that Putin wants to destroy the European Union with fifth column, so internal forces creating instability. Those forces are available in most of the European countries, including German AfD, and actually ruling governments in multiple of the countries, as I mentioned you. So all of that is done to undermine the values of the free democracy of European Union, to basically provide Russian influence in the region. Oh, we have some interesting news relative to the Russian oil sanctions published this morning. So China, one of the biggest refinery companies, Yangchang Petroleum, shuns Russian oil in latest tender, traders say. So they stopped purchasing Russian oil for refineries. Interesting. So after all, even with those exemptions for Hungary, for example, those sanctions continue to work, and Chinese companies refuse to cooperate with Russian companies of mainly Lukoil and Rosneft. Yangchang Petroleum is avoiding Russian oil in its latest crude oil tender for deliveries between December and mid-February. But again, it's temporary. After February, maybe something might change, but for now, those are working. I mean, sanctions. Well, those are the great news for us because Russian economy with this is getting weaker, not completely destroyed, as many experts say that, oh, those sanctions will destroy the Russian economy. No, but it will create some sort of the instability, at least in short up to middle range perspective. And in a long range perspective, obviously, Russian economy cannot survive the current war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Donald Trump again mentioned that the United States are not spending money for Ukrainian military. We spent $350 billion already, yeah. We're not spending any more money now, they pay us through NATO. What he's speaking about? What kind of NATO? He always tells about NATO as some sort of the overseas organization. Then the United States itself is the main part of NATO. Without the United States, NATO is not that capable at all. NATO has nothing really to do with that. It's about European countries. He is like very delulu. And if I were not president, this war could lead to the World War III. It will not lead anymore. Okay, so we have a new narrative since he is unable to stop the war in Ukraine, and I think that none of the United States president can stop the war in Ukraine, really. They may influence this war, they may help Ukraine to withstand the Russian attacks, but the decision to stop the war should be taken only, and it is possible to take, only in Russia. Russia started this war and Russia should end it. Russia could be forced to end the war, then they see that they're not capable on the front lines. So with that, really, United States may influence this decision, but the final decision is still should be taken by Putin or any sort of the other Russian president for potential future, yeah? But Donny, with his narcissism, he is unable to recognize that he is just useless in this question, as in many of the questions, and he just says that it will not lead to the Third World War, which basically means that he stopped the Third World War from happening, because he is now a president. You understand this philosophy, yeah? Crazy, broken philosophy, but that is what inside his head. Well, guys, I'm gonna update you with one more video this evening, so bear with me. Also, please support me if you can on Patreon or on membership of this channel. The link for my Patreon is in the video description below. The membership, you can just press the button join, and I'm not begging for this kind of the support, really, but it is like my job is possible because of it. That's why I'm calling for support if you can. If you don't want to do it or you don't have this opportunity, it's okay. Just press like to this video and subscribe for the channel to boost boost this video in YouTube algorithms. Thank you so much for everything you do, for your views, your likes, your comments, everything, guys. You are awesome, and I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.